Let's go. It's James, otherwise known as Escape Punk Lefty, back here with another video that I unfortunately kind of pre-watched. So, earlier today when I was at work, I was listening to another content creator cover this insane debate about that Piers Morgan had about Trump getting prosecuted for the 34 felonies and him getting convicted of 34 felonies about falsifying his business documents to pay off that adult film star that he slept with when that he had an affair with his wife, which interfered with voters' thoughts of Trump, and it was written off as a campaign finance instead of being written off as a personal payment from him. But I think either way, it would have went. It would have been some sort of campaign interference. So today we're gonna cover this Piers Morgan video. I believe this is my first Piers Morgan video. I intended to do that one Hassan debate, but life kind of got ahead of me. I had to get like an oil change and all that stuff when that happened, so I didn't really get a lot of time to come sit in front of this computer and do this. Remember, I don't get paid to do this. I do this because I feel that it's just fun for me to do sometimes. So before we get started on the video itself, I just got to give my opinion on Piers Morgan. I just do not understand why this guy has a TV program or internet program or whatever this is in Great Britain, because this dude contributes nothing at all positively to political discourse. He tried to pretend to be a centrist, but he does the weirdest shit. Like, he will have on like three right-wing people, like three fascists, like fucking lunatics, and then he have like one left-wing person and then a quiet left-wing person, and then he also is a conservative too, so he will put pressure on the liberal or left-wing host when it comes to discussing these whatever political issues, whether it's the Israel Hamas thing or this. When it comes to I'm sure when it comes to economics and other subjects, I haven't seen from him. I'm sure that he does the same shit, but it's just weird, because what's the point of you having no opposition if and then you're supposed to be the show host, but you interrupt the opposition and not allow the opposition to actually have a voice. And you can watch a lot of debates when leftists, especially prominent ones, like I think and I'm just gonna say Hassan Piker went on here, and he let the other two hosts, the psychopaths, talk over Hassan. Hassan kept having to start at the beginning of his statement, and Piers Morgan kept asking him the same thing over and over again, because when Hassan condemned Hamas and he had tried to move the conversation forward to talk about Palestinian human rights, Piers Morgan to bring him right back to saying that he's defending Hamas. It was an insane debate. I'll cover that maybe one day, even though it's kind of out of date now, since we have some sort of ceasefire proposal that I need to look into before I make a video on it. But the point being is just that Piers Morgan talk show program is fucking useless. And without further ado, let's blow this up. My computer's been out noticed, like it's been slower than it's been than when I first got it. And let's go. Insanity. I don't think I need my glasses for this. I just need to sit down and listen.
Pouring of smugness and glee from celebrities and liberals. Barbara Streisand said that Americans must not allow this felon anywhere near the White House again. Star Trek's George Takei quipped that he should now be called 34 instead of 45.
I mean, they do this thing where they try to virtue signal that they're anti-elite, but to be honest with you, conservative political positions and the way that they talk about socioeconomic issues makes it clear that they don't care about making sure working class people have power. First of freaking all, Trump is an elite. He's an elite businessman. He's a billionaire. He owns property all across the country, at least in New York City and in Florida, at least for now. And he is not somebody that grew up poor fighting in the Rust Belt to make himself known as a politician. And don't get me wrong, you have far right politicians, I'm sure, with some roots that are like that, but Trump is definitely he's an elite. He was on TV and he was a talk show TV personality before he got into politics, and even some of his political takes in the 90s signal at his right-wing intentions, like his comments about the Central Park Five. My point being here is that they talk about all the elites and stuff like that, and some of them are just like liberal elites. They're not like socialists or anything, of course. They're not going to talk about worker rights, but people that are creating instability in the country is sort of a danger for even rich people. And it's not because Trump is some maverick that's going to help the working class. It's because he makes the country unstable. He risks the country being overrun by bad economic and political policy, and he enables terrorism. So a lot of celebrities, especially those that are minorities, simply don't like him, and it's not because they're elite and they're afraid of him. It's because he's just a bad person with bad politics. And I don't. And then it's like if you really get Piers Morgan, I hate that I'm wasting time on this stuff, but if you really get Piers Morgan in front of a camera and you ask him about socioeconomic issues that working class people deal with, wages and healthcare benefits and stuff like that, I'm sure he wouldn't be in support and actually, you know, promoting anything that working people actually need to survive.
And Joy Behar from The View said she was so excited that she, quote, leaked a bit in Costco. Charming. But could these celebrations be short-sighted and short-lived? The Trump campaign has raised a staggering $200 million since the guilty
They love saying that, doesn't
verdict rolled in. And he received a hero's ovation alongside Dana White at the UFC event in Newark on Saturday night. And now even some...
Let's just skip to the panel, bro. I don't want to waste.
Number one, the prosecutor for bringing this case. Part of what makes the system work is prosecutors have
in front of them, and that the verdict was a correct one from a legal perspective. And the second view, which can run concurrently with this should never have...
Oh boy, they got dipshit Michael Knowles on here. When he talks, I got a few things to say about his debate strategy that I think a lot of people need to keep in mind. So if you ever go to like a conference or anything, just stay tuned through this video. I got a few things to say about debating this guy. He's not really hard to debate. It's just the way that he projects he's media trained to make saying stupid stuff sound smart. But we'll get to that when he talks.
Got to court in the first place, and dragging an American president through a criminal court process over something so relatively trivial, driven...
Why in the fuck, bro? Like, I'm gonna have to speed this up to 2 times speed. I'm gonna have to keep pausing it over and over again. But it's like, dude, it is not like he's being dragged. First of all, bro, and it's like, this reminds me of something I wanted to talk about before I started. So, first of all, he's not being dragged by a criminal court or politically persecuted and stuff like that. The things that Trump did does not fit the definition of political persecution. It does not fit the definition of, quote unquote fascism. It does not fit the the definition of so-called election interference. Trump committed crimes. He got out of presidential office and he got prosecuted for those crimes. And these people be having a fucking gall sometimes. Like, I'm not sure. I don't think Piers Morgan said it himself, but I'm sure Michael Knowles probably would say some shit like this. Like, there was like, black people are gonna love Trump because they know what it's like to be persecuted by the unfair criminal justice system, so they're gonna support him more. Outside of a couple of Uncle Tom hacks, it has not really been too many or any black person is supporting Trump. Even black people that are not that politically informed is aware that Trump policies hurt working people and that Trump is a fucking racist. So you're not going to see black people dancing to try to support this son of a bitch. Not to mention the fact that, there's a difference between black people going to jail for things that they can't control and getting persecuted in the criminal justice system. And there's a difference between that. And then you have like this shit where this wealthy billionaire white supremacist actually commits these crimes. He commits tax fraud. He commits campaign finance fraud, and he winds up going down for it. That's completely different. Notice that these people never also keep the same energy. There's been several events that life or death sometimes that has a cause like to shine on the fact that black people aren't given due process and stuff like that, whether it's the court of a public opinion or the court of law. So these people never really care when black people are chased and pretty much lynched. They don't care when black people are beaten or taken out by the police, and they don't care that it's so many young black men or even older and middle-aged black men that are in prison for minor drug offenses or preventable roads that these people could have went down to prevent them from being a certain way. So it's kind of I just wanted to get that out there because that's something that's been in this discourse the past couple of weeks or something like that. That oh, if Trump gets convicted, blacks are gonna like him, and it's like, and it's not about being a coastal elite. It's not because like first of all, I'm not even college educated. I'm poor. I work a regular ass job for a living, and at the end of the day, I guess I'm cognitive enough to research and study what politician does what and what politician believes what. So I'm not going to be stupid enough to sit up here and vote a racist, union busting carpetbagger in office. Simple as that.
By apparent political partisanship on the part of the people driving it,
All this
was a
fucking loaded
catastrophic
language,
error of judgment
partisanship,
and a disaster for the
persecution,
country. Discuss.
fascism, gallows.
Well, look, I don't disagree with you. You can have
I
these
think I
two
heard one
thoughts in your
time a
head.
couple weeks ago
If
somebody
you're
said
going
Trump
to
was
bring
getting
a
lynched.
criminal case against one of the most reviled people in Manhattan and pick a jury in Manhattan and expect them to do anything but convict him, then I know nothing about the criminal law that I've been trying cases about. That was a slam dunk for the prosecution from the get-go. At the same time, I can tell you that it was, to my mind, it was reprehensible that you take a case that is basically misdemeanors and with an expired statute of limitations, and you do the mental.
This is also bringing on two conversations about number one, should felons be able to run for president if they can't vote, and two, it seems like a lot of motherfuckers on this panel and a lot of the other people are just mad that a rich white man, especially a rich man in general, got prosecuted for the crimes that he committed, and they're trying to backpedal and find doorways out to justify the things that he's done, but it's just like the things that Trump has done. It's indefensible, and plus, it's no reason to keep going over this with this language because he's already been convicted. So I don't understand the point of people getting all upset for a wealthy billionaire. He'd be okay.
Gymnastics to contort this into a target crime that's not defined until closing argument and make those into felonies, basically reviving an expired statute of limitations. I could go on and on about the legal.
And notice all the other things that, especially pertaining to the war on drugs, how we got a lot of weird laws, like the one that Hunter Biden got convicted on today about doing drugs and buying a firearm, or having a certain amount of marijuana or drugs on you, and in all manners of weird things. Like I even argue like renewing your license plate and stuff like that. We got all sorts of laws that hold back and hamper working people, and especially, and even people of color, especially pertaining to the drug war stuff. But these people never discuss and talk about or disgusted by that, but they're disgusted by this man who committed these crimes, who paid off this adult film actress, being prosecuted for his crimes. Kind of find a weird hypocrisy that these people will argue that the criminal justice is 100% fair when it's locking up people of color or people that they disagree with, but it's obviously not fair when it's locking up rich people or the people that they feel is the most politically expedient to their cause.
Nonsense that this is. But I'm not criticizing the jury. I criticize, number one, the prosecutor for bringing this case. Part of what makes the system work is prosecutors have to make hard decisions when to bring a case. Now, the jury did what they were given. That's on the judge. The judge, there's no such thing as directed verdicts in criminal cases. This was basically a directed verdict based on the jury instructions. As to the political,
it's no such thing, if you ask me, as a directed verdict. I feel like the jury was presented with evidence of him committing these crimes, and the jury came out on the other side of the coin saying like, okay, yes, this man committed these crimes. I really think it's that simple. It is not a bunch of shit like, and it's like with right-wing people, everything's a fucking conspiracy theory. Everything is not a conspiracy theory about they rigged it and they did this and they took it this way and they got the people to persecute him because of this. Maybe Trump just fucked up. Maybe he fucked up. He assumed that he would still be president, but he's not, and now he's paying for it.
I'll just end it with this. I said 30 years ago when I was defending Susan McDougal, who was Bill Clinton's business partner in the Whitewater case, and when she was being prosecuted.
And then at the end of the day, when it comes to that, Bill Clinton faced legal consequences for the things that he did. Bill Clinton was, at least if you ask me, in my opinion, and it's like a lot of stuff I feel about that impeachment, how it wasn't fair. It was understandable, but wasn't fair. I kind of just feel as though Bill Clinton faced consequences immediately for what he did. He was impeached. But it's like they're digging back 30 years for some shit, older than I am. Before I was even born, that shit happened. To try to compare that to this. When at the end of the day, as I stated, prior, Bill Clinton was impeached. He lost the presidency. He had to step down. Just like Richard Nixon. He was dragged through the mud like a criminal. Even though arguably Bill Clinton wasn't perfect, fucking neoliberal. But at the end of the day, is a presidency that ended too soon, if you ask me. Not to mention the fact that, by comparison, Trump has did all manner of terrible things, but he has yet to face consequences for the things that he did. Even with the January 6th thing, keep in mind during January 6th, he led a coup attempt on the United States of America, but they couldn't even impeach this guy. So, I digress, man.
Prosecuted by then independent counsel Ken Starr. Be careful what you wish for, Republicans, because the chickens are going to come home to roost. And sure enough, that's where we are right now.
And those chickens are going to keep coming home to roost.
So, both sides.
Francesca, my question for you is, I understand how joyous you must be feeling that Donald Trump has been convicted because he slept with a porn star 20 years ago and may have shuffled some business.
And the shit with Bill Clinton happened before the shit with Donald Trump happened, but somehow Piers Morgan is over here trying to both sides it and sympathize with Donald Trump, but not with Bill Clinton. That's because these people love fascism. They love right-wing policies being foisted upon working people, even if it's not in the country that's theirs. And it's like what kills me about this entire segment is all the freaking hyperbole. Like everything, about Trump is persecution, unfairness, degraded, election interference, fascism, being lynched, all this shit. All of this shit, but at the end of the day, y'all never use this language again for any other situation, and y'all comparing two things that are not comparable, because it's like I said, Bill Clinton immediately faced consequences for what he was doing.
Newspapers about it. But why is it good for America that one of your 46 presidents has been treated?
This loaded ass fucking question. Why is it good for America that one of your 46 great men, your presidents, is being treated like this? You fucking bitch.
In such a humiliating manner over something so trivial. God, why do you guys not see that this might help?
What are you gonna go do, bro? You gonna go find him and suck his dick or something? Jesus fuck, bro. Oh my motherfucking God. This is why I'm glad that I'm a socialist and I'm not like I'm not a partisan hack. I don't agree with Democrats 100%, and I damn sure don't agree with Republicans at all. Because that prevents you from being simpering asswipes like this, where if somebody does something wrong, you can't criticize them, and then a criticism is viewed as vague fucking persecution for no reason, and you spend, and that's going to be this entire panel from all of them whining about somebody else. It's like, don't get me wrong, it's okay to talk about it, it's okay to be upset about it, but don't fucking whine about it. Don't, like I said, all this loaded fucking language.
Rather than hinder him in the election.
I happen to believe, Piers, that it's good for America when you hold the person who has the highest office in the land to the standards of the American law. And in this case, New York state law, where he committed these crimes. I happen to believe that it is a telltale sign of coming totalitarianism, fascism, skirting of the law, when you allow a president to simply do whatever he wants and actually never hold him accountable.
That's the real
answer. Look, the reality is this. is that these aren't crimes that were on the books in every single state. These are crimes that are on the books in New York State, as we talked about, all right? And so he knew exactly what he was doing. In fact, this is the most important part, is that David Pecker of the National Enquirer refused to keep on paying his hush money.
Look at Michael Knowles. I guess I'll just talk about him right now. Michael Knowles is a idiot. Like, he's never said one thing smart the entire time I've ever watched like any like politics that has anything to do with Michael Knowles. Michael Knowles is stupid. He know he's stupid and wrong, but it's the way that he gestures in his body language that make you feel when you're saying completely 100% correct and coherent things. He makes you feel insecure and wrong about it by laughing at you, making faces, or trying to talk to you like a child after he get the it's his turn to talk during the debate. And what you do is you just if I was to debate Michael Knowles, I would keep talking anyway. You know, you got to be confident in your points and know that you're right for the sake of being right, and always have your sources with you, always have your history with you, always have your political know-how with you. But that's what Michael Knowles do. He smugly says wrong, incorrect, dumb shit and tries to laugh at the opposition so you feel insecure about the factually correct things that you just said.
Payments, because the dude was tired of getting paid back in expired Trump stakes, and he was like, no, I'm not going to do it this time, especially not with a porn star. And so Michael Cohen had to do the payments on behalf of Donald Trump. Michael Cohen already spent 3 years mostly on house arrest, but he was already sentenced to 3 years over this. This is squarely Trump's making. This has nothing to do with his base. It has nothing to do with protecting American democracy like happened on January 6th, according to them. This has to do with Trump making his bronzer-stained bed with a porn star, trying to cover it up, and then getting caught doing it.
And out of interest, before I go to Michael, out of interest.
Literally, that's all that it is. Like, he fucked up. And keep in mind, like I said, when it comes to talking about minorities, women, immigrants, which is a minority, but you know what I'm saying, or any other demographic people that's not a rich person, but especially that's not a rich white right-wing person. They're, like if tomorrow, even somebody that's not even all that far left, let's say Taylor Swift got a speeding ticket, right? And they'd be like, this is what she's teaching children out, speeding and getting into it with the police. These people are the most motivated, reasoning-driven motherfuckers ever, who only care about something as it serves their purposes and not in the fact that they actually want to prevent harm or prevent people from misusing or abusing their power.
Why is Bill Clinton able to have sex with an intern in the Oval Office when he's president and lie to the American?
Wasn't that consensual sex? Let me Google that really quick. I swear that it was. Let me see here. Bill Clinton. Impeachment. Crimes. Lying under oath. He was never what was he saying? Like he raped somebody or something? Well, Bill Clinton didn't really lie about it. He everybody knows. Yeah, that's wrong. He didn't I don't know, bro.
American people about it on national television. And why is he able to pay off Paula Jones $850,000?
And you would notice that in this fucking conversation, Bill Clinton didn't pay anybody off. I swear on everything, Bill Clinton pay? He did not pay anybody off. At least from what I know. Cause you gotta be kidding me. Oh. AP News, faulty comparisons made between Trump and Clinton payments. Oh, that's because, come on, man. That's because Clinton's payment was in a lawsuit. He got sued and had to pay somebody $850,000. He didn't just give somebody some fucking money to be quiet. That's completely different. Oh my God, I knew it was something fishy about that. These motherfuckers love to lie about and misconstrue shit. That's why I fucking hate conservatives. Just be fucking honest.
4 times as much, 5 times as much as the Trump payment to Stormy Daniels.
Not the same
to
thing.
get rid of a sexual harassment claim, again, while he's president. And he has no criminal court recourse for that. Why is that deemed
Because that was a lawsuit.
to be better than what happened with Trump and Stormy?
That was a lawsuit.
I don't think anyone is making that case, Piers. I'm
No,
not
I'm
here to
asking you,
defend
what's the
Bill Clinton
difference?
or any
It was
What's
a
the difference?
lawsuit.
or any
And
predator.
it
The
fucks
difference
you
is that he
because
didn't-
it's so long ago that nobody knows the facts about Clinton's impeachment, especially people that are like modern politicians or political analysts or political commentators like myself. You don't have knowledge about that on hand, so that's how they get you. But a simple Google search, as you saw from AP News, I'm gonna see if I can pull it up on here without my computer dryer. You literally, yeah, because I just Googled it right here. Yeah, faulty comparisons made between Trump and Clinton payments. Hopefully, I don't get hit with an ad read. But yeah, face no criminal charge for paying sexual harassment accuser, because it was in a lawsuit, a civil lawsuit. It wasn't just a payoff; it was a lawsuit. And like I said, you may or may not have that knowledge on hand. And that's how they get you. And nobody really thought that they would be stupid enough to compare these two things.
cook the books financially using his own, like, using back channels in order to pay.
So paying
that
somebody off who
person
says you sexually harassed her, paying nearly $1 million while you're the president of the United States, and then having sex with an intern in the Oval Office and lying about it, that's fine because he's a Democrat.
I ain't gonna be able to do with all this loaded language and this fucking dishonesty, bro. Come on.
Piers, only the
Francesca?
leftists in your mind are making that argument.
Sorry?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, most leftist and liberal-leaning people are not cultish to one politician or party to the other. People, you know, like me, for instance, don't give a damn when Democrat politicians or their family members go down for crimes they committed for a variety of reasons, like saying that they're neoliberal capitalists, you know, who are not really fixing any of the financial problems of the working class, and you know, whatever they get coming to them gets coming to them too. But the argument here that people are so partisan where we can't, you know, we can't rectify or like, you know, the political persecution of one party or another party or one politician or another politician because he's simply a Democrat is an asinine statement.
I said only the Democrats and the leftist mob in your mind are making that argument that you're opposing to it.
For
I
real.
will say this
Because
about Stormy
nobody
Daniels.
says
I think
that.
it's incredible that she accepted $130,000 from Michael Cohen, because honestly, if I had the misfortune of sleeping with Donald Trump, no matter what the circumstances, let's say I had mad cow and then I did DMT on an empty stomach. If I had the misfortune of sleeping with Donald Trump, there is no amount of money you could pay me to keep quiet about it, because I would never tell a single soul. I would fake my own death and move to the Galapagos and pretend to be a bird.
I mean, I would say it's very unlikely you would ever get the offer, but you do look quite like Karen McDougal, funny enough.
Piers, that wasn't the point, you old pervert greaseball motherfucker. The point was her making fun of the fact that she would never sleep with Donald Trump. And you have to turn it back to like talking about how she looked. That wasn't the point of the joke.
Oh, so I'm not cute enough to.
No, I just said you are. I think you're very much in his.
Actually,
I love that line.
actually, it's a compliment. Yes.
Yeah, it was a compliment. Go to
It's
Michael.
not a- it's
Michael,
not
look,
a compliment.
I do think there's a ridiculous double standard here that will come back and bite the Democrats.
Oh my
For the
God.
reasons that Mark Garrigle said about historically, you know, you've seen this coming a mile off, where both parties starting to ratchet up this concept of kind of going after each other's leaders in criminal courts. I mean, you see this normally in banana republics, not in the United States of America, and it really does.
I mean, I wouldn't really say that. You see this in every country. Well, it's not even really about, because what happened here in this criminal prosecution was not the state. It wasn't the federal government. It was not Joe Biden. It was not, you know, the Democratic establishment or the DNC going after Trump. It was the state of New York, the prosecutors and attorney generals going after Trump for crimes he committed. Sadly, you know, similar to the election interference, because I think the only reason why that case got frozen is because it's clear cut. Trump interfered in Georgia's election by calling that man and saying fine 1,187,000 votes. He interfered in their election, and the only thing that saved his ass is the fact that they froze that. He's responsible for what happened on January 6th. Trump keeps committing crimes and he keeps getting prosecuted for them. It's not because the Democrats are trying to do this, that, or the other. Maybe you should tell your friend to just stop committing crime. Because this is shit I be talking about. Because you go with me. These are the same motherfuckers who would tell like working class and young black men and stuff like that we need to stop stealing Nikes out of Walgreens. Even though you get it, they don't sell Nikes there. But Walgreens is one of the corporations complaining about theft, you know, and shit like that. And say we need to pull our pants up and all that other shit, and we have stopped going to jail. But this motherfucker commits tax fraud. He lies about the value of his assets. He does campaign finance fraud. But, you know, for some odd motherfucking reason, for whatever odd reason, all of a sudden, oh no, this guy, you know, he's different. He's being persecuted and attacked. Like, it's so hypocritical.
It does worry me as someone who loves America and loves Americans, what this is leading to. Because if
I don't believe that you do, man. You should, and it's like if you do love America, you love America either A, for the wrong reasons and for the wrong people, or B, you don't really love America, but you love that, the America, like, sort of white supremacist, sort of, you know, wealthy order in America, but you don't like that it's actually being challenged. You know, give me a second. Okay, I had to send her that real quick.
If all that happens in each term of office is one party trying to incarcerate the other's leader, I don't know where that leaves America in a few years' time.
Well, this will
go ahead.
will only come back to bite Democrats if they lose their grip on power, and obviously they don't think that they will. This is why President Biden the other day, when he was walking out of a press briefing, was asked, Mr. President, Donald Trump says that you are imprisoning him because he's your political rival. What do you say to that charge?
Well, I'll stop you there. We have the...
Yeah, go ahead and play it for me, because I was about to look up. This was
funny.
Can
you tell us, sir, Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir? Do you think a conviction will have an impact on the campaign?
I mean, you look like Jack Nicholson.
He cleared, bro. Like, y'all are the only motherfuckers. Y'all see, the reason why he did it, because he knew that all y'all was shit yourselves. Y'all couldn't take or understand the joke. No, Joe Biden is not putting his thumb on the scale to get Trump prosecuted for crimes that he committed. Joe Biden partook in the hyperbole. The fucking it's so, because the thing about it, even to a man that old, not to say Joe Biden is stupid or anything, but even to somebody of that age range, this is fucking asinine. This is fucking retarded. What the fuck is wrong with you? Do you, like, you know, that y'all people can't understand irony, that you can't understand a joke? I apologize for saying the R word, but it's just like, that's fucking insane. Y'all can't take irony. Y'all don't understand irony. Like, you know, he's leaning into the joke. He's leaning into the conspiracy theory because it's funny. Because y'all all look like damn fools. Everybody else laughed at it. Leftists laughed at it. Apolitical people laughed at it. Liberals laughed at it. Only conservatives and fascists and white supremacists really took it seriously and was like, whoa, he smiled, so it must be something going on. That's the joke. Y'all are stupid enough to take him smiling about it like that as a serious indication that he's putting his thumb on a scale.
So in The Shining at the end of that, but yeah, I mean, Michael, to pick up your point there, that's the clip you're referring to.
Yes, and it's pretty clear this is not a man who thinks that he has to be accountable to the American people. When you look at the federal charge against Trump, there was a poll that...
What is he talking about? For what? See, look, And that's the thing about it is that they had to go after Hunter Biden, not Joe Biden, because Joe Biden kept his entire life so squeaky fucking clean. Even though he became wealthy in life, he's been paying his taxes. He hasn't been paying anybody off. He's been living a straight and narrow motherfucking life. Not to say Joe Biden is a perfect president and that I agree with him on everything, but as far as his criminal background and criminal history and the way that he's filed his taxes and things that he's paid for and people that he's paid off, there's no history there. Y'all are so desperate for a gotcha. Y'all start going after his son, which I don't really give a fuck about, because the last time I checked, Joe Biden is on the ballot and Donald Trump is on the ballot, not fucking Hunter Biden.
That came out when that charge was brought that showed 62% of Americans think that it's primarily politically motivated. They just don't seem to care.
That's a lie like a motherfucker, because that wouldn't even really make sense. Because conservatives are a minority in America, and the only reason why they have any political power is because the money interest behind them and because of the electoral college. So it wouldn't really make sense that 62% of your average American, even if they care about politics, will be dumb enough to say like, Trump is actually being persecuted. No.
And so this has been a ratcheting up, as we've all noted on the panel, of trends that have been built up for some years now. Some would say going back to Richard Nixon. But certainly in the early Trump campaign, the Democrats tried to stop him from being president by spying on him and cooking up fake intelligence, ironically enough, with Russia. And that didn't work. Then they tried to throw him out by impeaching him twice.
There's literally people that went to prison because Trump's connections to Russia, and there's people that are at large, like Russian agents that are at large and wanted because of the Trump administration colluding with the Russian government.
That didn't work. Then they tried to kick him out by rigging the election and changing all the voter rules, in some cases in contravention of state constitutions leading up to that election. That did get him out of office, and he did leave.
This motherfucker's stupid, bro. He's like, and it's like he's throwing out every conspiracy theory that he can. None of this shit happened, bro. He lost the 2020 election. It's as simple as that. He's a fucking loser. He lost. Nobody wanted to vote for him. He not only was he a white supremacist president, he didn't do anything to help working people, and he mismanaged the COVID pandemic and responded poorly to the 2020 civil rights protests in the wake of George Floyd's death. So Trump lost the election not because people interfered or had to put their thumb on the scale, but because most Americans don't like the son of a bitch. It's even old white people like truck drivers and fucking plant workers, like, the people that you think that would be racist and shit like that don't fucking like this guy. So don't you even fucking, and then he was like, and even more over on that, he was talking about taking away people with health insurance and social security and stuff like that. So he lost the election because of the things people like you and him were saying that they wanted from Donald Trump, not because people were fucking persecuting Donald Trump.
Leave office, but then he didn't go away. He kept running again. So then they indicted him 4 times. Now they've convicted him. They're going to threaten to throw him in prison. Pretty soon they're going to threaten to send him to St. Helena. But this has absolutely nothing to do with the law. As was noted earlier, at most you're talking about a misdemeanor that would have already expired under this.
If you're the panel host, why are they agreeing with you? You're supposed to be the fucking panel host. So why is his statements mirroring the exact same shit that you saying, Piers?
Statute of limitations. I'm not even convinced that there was really a misdemeanor that Trump committed. So my fellow panel...
He got convicted of something, Michael knows. You see what I'm saying? How Michael Knowles confidently says factually incorrect information, even smiles and laughs about it, try to invalidate factually correct information.
Here is celebrating that the rule of law has been vindicated and overturned 234 years of American legal tradition. I would challenge her to see if she could possibly articulate how and what crime Trump committed, because so far Alvin Bragg, the DA, has failed to do so. The judge in the case, Judge...
Campaign finance fraud, the misuse of campaign funds to pay off a third party, and subverting the opinion of the American people by hiding information that could have influenced their votes. So you got campaign finance fraud and election interference, Michael knows. It's not really that difficult to understand what happened. But like I said, but that's the thing about, especially at the Daily Wire with people like Ben Shapiro, I'm sure he's under his tutelage. If you say a lot of factually incorrect information very fast and confidently, people won't catch you on it. And people that are already stupid enough to believe those conspiracy theories will chug right along with you.
Merchan has failed to do so, and they can't do it because Trump didn't commit any of the crimes for which he's been convicted.
Well, let's just ask quickly before we go to Kev.
He got convicted of something, Michael. He got convicted of
Francesca, just on
something.
that point, what crime did Trump commit?
It was financial crimes. It was white collar crimes.
What
that
was
is
it?
exactly
Which
what.
one?
Campaign finance fraud. She should have just said that, because I guess she got so upset because, you know, I understand why. Because these guys, excuse me for a second. But yeah, these men on this panel are acting so obtuse and bitchy that she probably, like, not necessarily got in her feelings. Excuse me. Probably not necessarily got in her feelings, but she got upset at the ridiculousness of a fucking question like that. Like, this man got convicted for things that he's done. And it's like, for whatever reason before this panel, why are you asking her? You know, y'all supposed to know this shit. That's why, it's like I was telling somebody, a few weeks ago when I was debating on TikTok, it's just like, look into things, study. Don't just fucking go off bravado and fucking yeah. What do you know now? He's against the deep state. He's against everybody. So yeah, he's been persecuted. No, actually study, research, look up what went wrong. Look up the things he did. Don't be an idiot.
They charged him. He was convicted on.
What was the crime?
It's New York state law.
No, I understand. What was the crime?
It is New.
Francesca.
Campaign finance fraud.
I don't even like.
She did say it, but she didn't say it good enough. She should have just said that and been quiet, because now the fact that she's kind of acting out, she's upset at such an asinine question, they're gonna take that and try to merge that. And even though she did say it correctly, like she did campaign finance fraud, she said at the beginning of her statement, they're gonna take the rest of everything she said and try to interpret that as her not knowing what she's talking about.
It is hang on, you just got convicted on 34 counts.
Francesca, what was the crime?
Of like cooking the actual books.
What was the crime?
You are not allowed to use your own financial, like your own money to pay off somebody, and then he logged it as something different. He logged it as just a regular payment, but he was actually paying off this porn star to keep quiet, which if he hadn't been running for president would not have mattered, but he was, and so it impacted campaign finance laws in New York State. Okay, that is what Juan Merchan just oversaw this. Alvin Bragg brought these charges.
All right. What conspiracy theory do you got to counter? She said what happened. That's literally what he did and what he was found guilty of doing. Let's see what conspiracy theory Piers Morgan has.
Because Michael Cohen was already sentenced to 3.
See, smugly says conspiracy theory, acts smug and bitchy to try to invalidate somebody saying factually incorrect information. But like I said, the way to deal with people like that is to continue to say the factually incorrect information, or ask them for counterexamples about the things that you're debating about.
Okay, let's just go before Kevin. I'll be very, very, very patient. We'll come to you.
Look, I'm no expert. Let me just say, hang on.
No, Francesca.
Close your mouth, Mike.
Federal law.
Hang on, Francesca. I want to go to Mark. You're the lawyer. Is anything Francesca just said, is that actually the crime?
Look, let me just say, I like Francesca a lot. I was saying we probably agree.
Oh no, this punk bitch. See, people that get on. See, and I will say this about political motivations and people that use their political degrees to falsify narrative for politicians and for political causes. And I don't mean real lawyers, like let's say you have like a left-wing or liberal lawyer that actually discusses laws to defend people's civil rights or right to vote and stuff like that, which is a civil right, but you know what I mean. I'm talking about lawyers and attorneys like this that use their credibility to defend fascists, to defend white supremacists, to defend people who are clearly guilty of crimes, to defend right-wing politicians that are clearly guilty of crime, to try to discredit our legal system for prosecuting bad people for the shit that they have done and they are doing, should be disbarred. They should take his license from him for this interview, just like they did Rudy Giuliani. It shouldn't even take going all the way through January 6th. Like lawyers, doctors, scientists, physicists, whatever, even sociologists that are dumb enough to use their degrees and credibility to even fucking people that because there's been some people who work at unions and are higher position union. If you work at somewhere, or you have a degree in something, or you hold a position of power, and you use that to protect a politician from, prosecution or political opinion for crimes that they actually committed, you should be disbarred. Period. They should take your degree away from you, because what are you doing? You're and it's like you're helping pollute the narrative. You're helping, spread fascism. You're helping, harm American working people and American minorities when you defend, politicians that are, for the most part, clearly guilty of the things that they've done.
Yeah, and 80% of our worldviews. However, Francesca, that what the way you just described it, call me afterwards and I'll educate you, because that's not what happened. There was no
It is what happened.
Theory that was given to the jurors.
For real,
the jurors
bro,
were told
me
it
too.
could have been campaign finance, it could have been tax, it could have been false books. They were told that they didn't have to specify, and specifically told they did not have to agree unanimously. That's what irks me. Lifelong Democrat, no fan of Trump, never voted for Trump, never.
Don't believe them when they say this shit, because there's been a lot of motherfuckers out here, not even just lately, but the past couple years, even during the January 6th shit, even during the 2020 COVID pandemic, and with the masking laws and shit like that, you had a lot of people out here that are like, well, I was always a Democrat my whole life, or I was an independent, but this year I'm voting for Trump. These people always were and have been Trump supporters, or they're just grifting, trying to get a following off protecting Donald Trump. Flat out. Like, these people are not actually liberals. If you actually ask them, because it's like this, voting is not just about liking a politician. For instance, I don't really like Joe Biden, but I agree with a lot of his policies. Voting is not the end all, when it comes to voting, is the end all be all is not liking somebody or feeling sorry for somebody being prosecuted for crimes that they committed. First of all, this is a fucking lie anyway, because Trump did commit these crimes, but it's like, I'm not going to feel bad for the guy for being prosecuted for the crimes that he committed, not to mention the crimes that he committed, but his political policies are dog shit. His rhetoric and effect on the country is dog shit. So I'm not voting for no motherfucking white supremacists back in office. I voted for Hillary in 2016, but you know what I'm saying.
Never will. But I will tell you, as somebody who has spent his entire career with kind of taking on unpopular causes and holding the government accountable, I have to tell you, I do that for a reason. And the reason is this kind of shenanigans, and that's the best light I can spin it on, in the criminal courts, has no place in a federal election.
No, I agree.
The campaign finance laws were federal, not state.
Piers Morgan, shut the fuck up.
And the state laws had nothing to do with
it. I want to go to Kevin. Been waiting very patiently. Kevin, you are a very successful businessman, as Trump has obviously been in his career too.
Very successful businessman. Yeah, notice that all the people on this panel that's defending Donald Trump, not to say that this woman isn't like relatively well, I would imagine this woman is relatively poorer than these four men right here. I would like beg to differ on that, not to mention the fact that all these men have a vested interest, rather, because Michael Knowles is a fascist. These three are at least neoconservatives. So all these people except this woman have a vested interest at a fascist becoming president, whether it be for tax reasons or because he persecutes the minorities that they dislike. But then again, being a neoconservative and benefiting from right-wing tax policies and being racist and stuff is not really a Venn diagram, it's a circle.
Do you think, in all honesty, if you were caught up in something like this, and I'm not for a moment suggesting you would want to have a one-night stand with Stormy Daniels, but if you went down this road and ran for office, or not run for office, if you just ran for, say, to be CEO of a company, do you think it would ever have led to a criminal case? Because the argument is that a regular business guy who's not actually running for the presidency would be treated very differently, and therefore the law has not been seen to be fairly applied here.
I think half the
Wow, that was a stupid fucking question. Like, you gotta... I can't really clap as like hard as I want to, but I could not think of a question stupider than that, because there's a difference between being a civilian, running for or trying to get a promotion to CEO in a civilian company, and running for the United States presidency. I think those are two different things, Piers.
The country in the U.S. believes this is politically motivated, which is not a good thing. It's having more impact on the state of New York, which is seen as unstable. Whether the case has flaws in it or not will be solved for in the appellate system. So most people assume, because of the importance of the situation, that it will go through the appellate system as quickly as possible, if necessary, to the Supreme Court. In the end of the day, these things balance themselves. The damage done to New York started back in the other litigation around real estate. Quietly, large projects, those are over $1 billion, are not being started in New York currently. People are waiting until things stabilize. And I've moved projects out of New York to places like Oklahoma, North Dakota, West Virginia, Montana.
What he's doing right now is indirectly endorsing Republicans in Republican states because they allow more right-wing tax laws, right-wing business and regulations and stuff like that. Like this dude wants to build a power plant next to your kids' skate park so they can catch uranium poisoning.
Pennsylvania, much more stable environments. It's too difficult to work in that unstable environment. And the real problem is you can't raise institutional capital right now. The capital from around the world thinks New York's a little off kilter. There's something else to consider about Alvin Bragg, which I think history will prove to be correct. You've got to remember, Donald Trump only 24 months ago, in the middle of the first term of Biden, did not have control of his party. About a third of them were rebelling, if you want to use that word, because they were concerned about the controversy around Trump and they were looking for new leadership. And he was challenged, but something happened that changed everything. And this is the law of unintended.
What was the controversy? First of all, I really don't feel like Donald Trump ever lost control over the party. Is that he stepped out of the spotlight because he stepped out of the presidency. And then, of course, I would agree that there was a controversy surrounding January 6th. So Republicans and conservatives went quiet for a while. But I don't believe that Donald Trump really lost control of the Republican Party. That's why when Joe Biden was trying to put up votes for things like, I believe, like the stimulus checks and stuff like that, Trump would instruct Republican senators and House members to vote against it. And guess what they did? They voted against it. So he's always had influence. So I don't understand this thing where he was just like, oh, he just stepped back and let everything happen. He never really stepped out of the spotlight.
Consequences. Alvin Bragg started charging Trump. And immediately the entire Republican Party coalesced behind him almost in 48 hours. Of course, the country bifurcated into this being a political witch hunt.
I mean, no, not first of all, stop being hyperbolic. Not the whole country. Some people just like seeing a racist dickhead go to jail. First of all. Second of all, the Republican Party, the only reason why they're defending him so vehemently, even to the point of them draining their campaign finances in other states such as here in Michigan, is because Trump is their best chance at winning the presidency. It has not been a president since Ronald Reagan, a Republican president at least, that's driven up so much right-wing fervor, has defended white supremacists, has defended the interest of rich businessmen and millionaires and billionaires and what have you, and business owners. There hasn't been a man that has done what Trump has done. And then the thing about Trump that makes him so good to the Republican Party today, because he is a fascist, he's a fake populist. Right-wing populism is just fascism. Right-wing populism is fake populism. He's able to sell right-wing talking points to working people in a way that we have not seen in a very long time. So the Republican Party knows that for many reasons they need Donald Trump. So they're going to do everything they can to keep him out of trouble. But there's only so much they can even do.
Using lawfare, as a tool, and we're still debating that.
That's not a word.
But here's what's really interesting. If Trump becomes president, I think he has a big debt to Alvin Bragg. Right. Alvin Bragg is the kingmaker. Yeah. He made Trump president by polarizing the country so much and motivating the base so much that in the last 42 hours, Trump has passed $60 million.
This is so fucking irritating. I hate when right-wing people can't just take a fucking loss. This reminds me of when they talk about, like, deplatforming. Like, when they were, like, deplatforming, like, Milo Yiannopoulos or Richard Spitzer, and they will always point at the one exception, Alex Jones, which ain't really the exception now, because now he probably has to sell InfoWars. More on that later. But the point being is that they act like when far-right and right-wing politicians face consequences, sheesh, man, for the things that they've done, that is all of a sudden is giving them a boost. This is a good thing. Oh, Trump he's gonna be better off after. Like, no. Trump is gonna be is worse off after this. He's financially behind. He probably has to do community service, be on house arrest, or serve a jail sentence. So Trump did not in any way benefit from this, and his base didn't grow because of this. The same motherfuckers, it's like, I have to say it like this, that supported Trump before the conviction or supported him after the conviction. These people were already fucking brain dead. They were already either buying into his fake hippie right-wing populism, or they were just white supremacists, or they were business owners and shit, or whatever. And the same people that dislike him. It's only a select few, like that son of a bitch in the middle, who are dishonestly coming out saying that, oh, I was such a liberal and a Democrat, but after I see what's happened to Trump, I'm turning things around. Bullshit.
In fundraising. That's an all-time record for him. So what's happening here is this
The fundraising doesn't mean shit either.
unusual time, and I understand that you may not like that as an unintended consequence if you're Alvin Bragg, but I think history will show he made Donald Trump president one more time. And that's just the way it is.
You know what? I completely agree. I think it's one of the most willful. I'll come to Francesca in response. It seems to be one of the most willfully stupid acts of self-harm I've seen any political party commit. You had Trump, right?
You're talking about prosecuting Trump for crimes that he committed? What are you talking about? And second of all, I think the DAs and shit like that are Democrat, but like the Democrat Party and the DNC had nothing to do with this. And it's just like we always gotta, and it's like this is the last time I'm gonna say this. I'm probably gonna end this video soon. I'm probably not gonna get through all 34 minutes of this fucking ridiculous shit show. But Trump got prosecuted for crimes he committed. Nobody made him pay Stormy Daniels off. He decided to do it, and it bit him in the ass later. This is not like self-harm, and this is not, stop lying to your base, acting like people are going to don't get me wrong, his base, those same people might be riled up, but it's not bringing in more sympathy for Trump. If anything, the average voter and the average American, especially ones that work for a living, thinks that him getting prosecuted, thinks that him getting held back, thinks that every bad thing that happens to Donald Trump financially or in the criminal justice system is a good thing. That's what working people really think. Even working people that have mixed political views and stuff like that love the fact that Trump is suffering for all the, the hatred and the ignorance that he spread over not even just his presidency, but the past couple of decades. So, most people are saying, fuck him. That's what he get. Like this fake, like, populist vent where it's like all of a sudden like, oh, actually they're giving him a boost because, like, no, he's not getting a boost. He's getting what's coming to him.
On his knees, done. And you've revived the rotting political corpse of this guy, and you've now got him roaring back to the White House. And the only thing,
I mean, it could be viewed as putting another nail in the coffin.
As Mitt Romney, of all people, who hates Trump and represents by absolutely the most moderate part of the Republican Party,
Mitt Romney, even though I feel like Mitt Romney he's not a fascist or a white supremacist like manga, like Republican. He's a neoconservative, one of the very few neoconservatives in office. First of all, Mitt Romney supported mostly everything Trump did in office. The only thing that Mitt Romney stopped short of was the January 6th shit and the coup attempt. But other than that, Mitt Romney pretty much agrees with and loves everything else Trump has done. So it's not really surprising that this man will turn around and say some stuff like that, because Mitt Romney at the end of the day is a Republican. Not to mention the fact that Mitt Romney, while being a neoconservative and wanting to work with liberals to make some more of a stable America, he does not want America to stay liberal. He does not want America to, stay Democrat and sway leftwards, because that's bad for him. So he will say dumb shit, or not even really dumb shit, but he will say what was politically expedient to him.
Even he says Democrats think they can put out the Trump fire with oxygen. It's political malpractice. He's right, because the only thing that...
oh boy, I can't say it enough times. Even he's right. Look at this. Mitt Romney even agrees with Donald Trump that this is political persecution. Shouldn't have did that. Even though, like I said, Mitt Romney has bootlicked Donald Trump through his entire presidency, and it's only really stopped short of the January 6th shit. Okay.
could further guarantee a Trump victory is if they try and put him in jail on July the 11th, which, by the way, I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, it's remarkable times. We haven't seen polls.
So, and in fact, most people think, see, look, me personally, here's my personal opinion. I think Trump should go to jail. Because it's people like him, bro, and it's like, don't get me wrong, because it always comes down to the personal. The personal is political, you know what they say. But number one, it'd be good for him to go to jail because it'd be fucking hilarious to watch y'all melt down like bitches over him getting locked the fuck up. I cannot wait. Or, you know, I cross my fingers that they do lock his ass up so y'all can get on another panel and bitch about it. Then y'all can't really say anything because the damage would be already done. Two, they'll stop him from campaigning. I would fucking love that. So that way he can't go visit the fucking hillbilly racist fuckheads that want to fucking suck his dick or whatever. Three, I would love it to happen because Donald Trump, you know, especially with his comments about the Central Park Five and his, you know, his way of trying to steer the country away from becoming more racially aware and racially, cognitive about the things that black people deal with, especially with the police and the criminal justice system. All his comments during the civil rights protests in 2020, saying when the looting starts, the shooting starts. The fact that he got a bunch of protesters beaten so he could hold a Bible upside down in front of a Catholic church. The fact that he sent a bunch of state, you know, thugs into I forget where to kill Michael Rhino and stuff like that. But not even just that, we can just focus on the race thing. The fact that he's so ignorant and obtuse to the persecution that black people deal with. The fact that he's one of the type of people that says things like, if Black Lives Matter, act like it. The fact that he says things like, oh, when we're gonna unhandcuff our police officers, we're gonna make sure they don't get prosecuted when they murder minorities and stuff. I don't feel no sympathy for somebody like that going to jail. Because they seem to not really have no sympathy or self-awareness for anybody else.
Out since the verdict, and so everybody's waiting to see what happens with the unintended consequence of this in terms of just independent voters. And so here's the thing to realize: if you polled 1,000 independent voters, and they will decide the election, most people agree with that in states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia.
No, that's not what decides the votes in swing states. Mostly what decides the votes in swing states, especially when it comes to Democrat voters, especially like Michigan, for instance, has a lot of dumb, like, racist people in, like, Commerce Township and what's some other places, or White Lake and all these other places and stuff. But Detroit, Michigan, and its surrounding immediate suburbs like Detroit, Southfield, Dearborn Heights, Hamtramck, you know, and what have you. As long as, you know, the people in these cities go out to vote, you know, the people in the inner city go out and vote. People in the outward suburbs, you know, the black people, the Arab people, the Hispanic people, the women, and, you know, even the white people that have moved to the city to be around, you know, more like-minded people, go out and vote. Then you have a Democrat victory. The only time purple states or swing states turn completely red is when people stay home, which is what happened in 2016. But you can see this didn't happen in 2020, probably because more awareness was brought to the need to vote because of the ongoing civil rights protesting and his mismanagement of the pandemic.
Georgia, etc. I bet you, and we've had the same on this panel, we're debating it, 99% of them have no idea what this case was about at all, and have no idea what exactly he did, and I'm not sure they care. The fact that more than half of them think it's politically motivated is unsettling.
You heard what he just said. Working class American, you're stupid and uninformed. You don't even care about why he was being prosecuted anyway. So you're going to vote for him because you feel sorry for him. You don't do any research. You don't read because you're a stupid worker. And you're going to vote for the person that just has the loudest voice. And that's essentially what he just said.
Yeah. And as I said earlier, we'll get finished off in the appellate system. But this is a remarkable time in American history, and not that great for the American brand, as you started talking about at the beginning. This is more like a Venezuela kind of Cuba, Banana Republic story. You got the porn star.
Done with this panel, bro. Like, at the end of the day, I will end this segment on saying that Donald Trump. She started smiling. I wonder what she was gonna say. Donald Trump is 100% did the things that he did. He was convicted. He's a convicted felon, and he's getting everything that's coming to him. I don't feel sorry for him for the things that he's going through, and neither does the average American. This has been James, otherwise known as Escape Punk Lefty, with another video. Give me a few.